like Mark said, we're talking about the cornerstones of our lives tonight. And immediately when I think cornerstone, I think of one of my favorite Bible verses, which I'm sure many of you have heard, which is Psalm 23, verse 4. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, your rod and staff, they strengthen me. And that is going to be sort of my underlying theme of my talk tonight, is the strength that God has provided me. So like Mark said, my name is Park Schweiter. I'm a senior at Conestoga High School. And this is my 4th year on St. Norbert's youth group, and this will be my 4th year on Xanten. And I hope you guys are all having a great weekend. And so I came here on my first Xanten. Shortly after joining the youth group, I went to a small Catholic school. I recently joined a big public school. My life was, from that alone, I had a lot come in on me. And in July of that summer, going into my freshman year, my life and my family took a 360 spin it was a rainy evening in July, and my mom called me up. I was just hanging out watching TV at a buddy's house, and my mom calls me. She's panicking, and she's like, "Park, you gotta help me out. Like, my little brother Logan. Logan has been in a terrible flash flood, and he's on his way to Bryn Mawr Hospital right now, and he's not in a good spot." And for those of you that don't know me, I'm fairly laid back. I don't ever get worked up, really at all. So I stayed calm. I was like, all right, I'll take a ride down to the hospital. I'll check on my brother. Little did I know at the time that my brother that night, he was caught under a storm drain for 20 minutes in the water. His heart had stopped, and he was revived on the side of that riverbed by the medics. And God willing, he's still alive today. But I went to go see him at the hospital, and I walk in, and I saw my family sitting there in the waiting room. My grandma was praying the rosary. My cousins and aunts were kind of scattered. It was kind of havoc, to say the least. And I saw my grandpa, and he's like me. He's very level-headed. He's very calm. He goes, "Park, you should go see your brother." I was like, "All right, Poppy, I'll go back and see him." And I started to walk back, and I saw a bunch of doctors running around this table. And I walk up to the table, and I see my brother sitting there, and I didn't recognize him at first. He was completely flushed white from lack of oxygen. He had river residue all over himself, and he had cuts all over his body from being tossed around the river. And I immediately started digging for strength. I was like, "Park, this is your brother, and your whole family's here. You gotta hold it together, man." And I couldn't. I looked at him, and I tried, and I turned around, and I broke down, and I cried, and I cried. And at that moment, I needed strength. I needed a lot of strength. And over the next few weeks, my brother had been transported to CHOP later that night. He stayed at CHOP for 2 months, all the rest of July, most of August. I stayed at Ronald McDonald House for a few nights. I would, try and spend time with my family as I could at the hospital. At the same time, try and keep things in order back in my house in Devon. And it wasn't easy, and I described myself as a nomad at the time. I really didn't have a solitary resting place, and I was very overwhelmed. So when I walked through those front doors of the Abbey my freshman year, I was very overwhelmed, and I was very confused as to what God's plan was for my life and what God's plan was for my brother's life and my whole family. And So I came in here, I was just like, God, like, you know, I don't know you too well. I don't have this great relationship with you, but I want to try. I need an answer. I really need an answer. And, you know, so I had a good weekend. I was just at peace the whole weekend. And then came time for adoration. It was about, you know, I was having a strong experience in Mass. We walk over, you know, and we begin adoration. And, you know, immediately I was a little confused. It was my first adoration. I didn't know why all these people were crying and laughing and speaking in tongues, and I was confused. But I was just like, you know what, like, God, just give me peace and just, you know, speak to me if you have something to tell me. And I was sitting there in quiet prayer, and someone came over and put their hand on my shoulder. And at that moment, I thought it was an angel. In the moment, she was an angel for me, but her hand couldn't have been there more than a minute, and I just felt this 2-ton weight fly off my shoulders into the air. The 2-ton weight that I've been holding in my heart since I saw my brother that night in the hospital. A 2-ton weight that I've been carrying with me every time I saw my brother or my family, and I was trying to hold it in and be strong for them. You know, that left me. And when that left, God came into my heart, and He gave me the warmest embrace that I've ever experienced in my life. And I decided right then and there that you know, my life has changed forever, and I couldn't take that back. Again, I'm not going to say her name because I don't want to embarrass her, but she's an older youth groupie, as we call them. She is, you know, she's a very strong faith, and what she said to me, I took incredibly seriously, and I hope you guys can as well. She says, "Dear Park, first thing," I think that's how you spell your name. She spelled it right, by the way, so it's all good. If not, I apologize. I just wanted to write you a note because I felt God talk to me. The thing is, the message was not for me, it was for you. I don't really know why I put first, because there isn't a second. Anyways, the following message is from God. Park, I love you. I've not given you anything that you cannot handle. But that doesn't mean you have to carry your cross by yourself. Let me help you. Come to me. Do not be afraid to ask for my help. You, my son, are a strong person. Let me in your life. Let go of all the pain and anger that you hold in your heart and offer it to me. My son, you mean the world to me, and I'm sorry that you have not felt my presence. But I've walked with you every trying step. You, my child, are not alone. I love you. Come to me, and I'm waiting. So, you know, really my name was addressed on that letter, but I strongly believe that God has the same message for each and every single person in this room tonight. And I believe that if you just put yourself out there, as hard as it might be, if you just say, you know what, Lord, I'm a mess. You know, whatever's happened in your past, whatever's happening right now, whatever might happen in the future, you need God with you. He's got to be your cornerstone. Nothing else can fit that spot in your heart. So I just challenge you, you know, please just offer it up to God tonight and let Him into your heart, and He will not fail you, I swear.